Hi, we are Sole and Ramon, and we want to
Hello.
welcome to the first episode of our podcast about Colivers. In this episode, we are going to talk about how to open a coliving from scratch with Ben and Fabienne from Alpiness Coliving.
We were this summer with Ben and Fabienne. We met them in Alpiness in Switzerland. We were helping them to renovate the place and building from zero. And we also met Cesar, who is going to be the host of this podcast.
So we will leave you with him. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Welcome, everybody. This is going to be Colivers Club. This is the first episode. I'm here, Cesar Alberca, with Ben and Fabienne. Hello, how are you guys?
Hey!
We're really good, thank you, and happy to be to the first episode of Colivers Club.
Yeah, no, it's an honor to be able to share this space with you. I met you quite recently during this summer, at a new project that you guys are starting called Alpiness, maybe?
Yeah, we make people work, especially you guys when you came over the summer. So yeah, we just we opened the co-living space September 1st.
Yeah, because Alpiness is a co-living,
Is
yeah.
a co-living.
Yeah.
And thanks to people like you guys, we got an amazing summer full of renovations and like bringing this your old hotel back to life. We're located in the Swiss Alps, and we just freshly opened now and have our first co-liver in the house.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's an amazing space and you guys have a lot of cool ideas. So I can't wait to go back there. But maybe at first a little bit more introduction or more information about yourselves. Can you give us some details about who are you?
So we're Fabienne and Ben, a couple of backpacker first. So we, like a long time ago, almost 9 years ago, we did a backpacking trip around the world for 19 months, and that's where everything kind of started for us. Because before we were either in the academia or in the corporate world, and after this backpacking trip we did, we kind of ditched our old lifestyle and started to have a more nomadic kind of lifestyle. And yes, since then we traveled a bit around the world, work at the same time. We have our own travel blog. We built it websites. Now we also write hiking guides and everything, and all of this remotely.
Yes, exactly. And we were working remotely for quite a few years. And back in 2018, I think we stumbled across our first co-living. And when I say stumble, it's really like by accident, because we were like, as usual, like in an Airbnb, we had shitty Wi-Fi, we had bad like work conditions, and we were looking for a co-working. And we ended up, it was in Tenerife, and we ended up going to 9 co-living, which I think you know as well.
Which coincidentally, I also helped remodel.
You're just remodeling co-livings, aren't you?
Yeah, I love painting and setting floors. We can talk about that later. Still have nightmares about it.
Well, actually, we ended up at 9 co-living when it opened in 2018. So it was also the very beginning. And so how we started there, we also volunteered for a month, and then we ended up staying 5 because we loved it so much. It was like a big, like a mind-blowing experience for us. And it's like this way of being able to work, meeting all these like-minded people at the same time, and having all these cool experiences. So it kind of filled all the gap we had in our lifestyle before. And since then we started to.
And it's a funny story actually, because when we were at 9 co-living in the very beginning, like most backpackers, when we were traveling, we were like, every time we were in a hostel, we're like, oh, one day we'll open a hostel. Every backpacker has this at some point. And when we arrived at 9, we were sitting on the terrace they have an amazing rooftop there. And we were sitting on this rooftop having a glass of wine, and we're like, no, screw the hostel. We'll open a co-living at some point. But this was more like of a joke of like people having a glass of wine. But it was like, like talking about it because we loved it just so much, like this whole experience.
Well, you made your dream come true, right? You open a co-living in a hostel, right? So kind of both.
Fair enough.
Nice. So you've been like in this kind of world like for a long time, right? And my question is, when it made sense for you to start a co-living? When did you start taking it seriously?
Well,
I think it's probably like 2-3 years ago, we started like we wanted to do something else, like something more than our travel blog. And we're kind of like, COVID crisis, like this whole thing, like trying to question what are we doing, what's the purpose of what we're doing, and then all of a sudden it started like to come a bit more up in our heads, like, oh, this could be something. And then we ended up going to
Anseo,
Anseo
yeah.
in
We
Galicia.
spent, actually, we spent 7 months,
Mhm.
over 2 years in Anseo. And I totally recommend everyone that listen to this podcast to go there, because they do an amazing job like bringing the gap between the co-living space and the local community.
Mm.
And so they're located in a very remote and small village of Galicia. And what they managed to do there is really amazing. So they created lots of projects to work between co-livers and local people. They do coding schools
Yeah.
for young children. They do a lot of very different things.
This was me something we were missing a bit in the co-living world. Like co-living have this reputation of being like little bubbles for expats or for remote workers, and you don't really integrate with the local population. And when we arrived to Anseo, it was kind of like a game changer for us, because we're like, wow, actually it can be also different. It can have like a real local impact. And I think this is like little kick we needed to do it ourselves and have like maybe this approach of trying to do something which like adds some value also to where you do it.
Yeah, because remote work allows as many possibilities. Allows also would allow like these kind of remote villages to be redynamized, to revive in kind of in many ways. And we hadn't seen like any kind of this project actually doing this kind of stuff in remote villages before. And what we experienced there was like really a kind of life changing experience. And to see these guys
Mm.
doing this, I was like, yeah, okay, we have actually the same problems in Switzerland, in those remote village in the mountains. And why could we then do it in our place, like in our country, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like an extended problem. So in Spain, where I'm from, it happens that there's these villages that they are slowly dying, and remote work is a great possibility for these places to have a life again.
Mhm.
Uh, and as you said, create a positive impact, which I think is important. Uh, so when you started thinking about or playing with the idea, and then you said, okay, let's do this, no? How do you start? Because I guess a lot of listeners who maybe happen to be Colivers or Nomads, they also fantasized with the idea of creating their own co-living. What would you say to them? No, like how did you start?
I think I'm not sure it's the same for everybody and everywhere, but I think people might be wondering as well. Like money is a big thing,
Yeah.
and I think it's where we start actually. Is like, okay, trying to assess like, okay, what's our budget, up to which point can we go, and where can we find support or like investors or banks, or like we tried to sort this part out first, because we didn't want to be disappointed by going crazy visiting properties and then just having like, oh no, this is not even possible.
Because the budget also like also kind of an influence on the location, for example. Because for us, our first destination was Switzerland, but Switzerland is expensive, so we had to figure out our budget to know what we could afford, and then start looking for places and see if it would even be possible to open something in Switzerland, in a place that would make sense for our project. Because actually at the beginning we're looking for many different places. We had also like France in mind, Italy in mind, because it's cheaper there. But also, we're Swiss. We know the Swiss system. Our families and friends are here, and
And it's a beautiful country.
yeah, and,
Yeah.
We like it. It's
Oh
also
we
man,
like it. So
when I first visited, I thought, okay, it must be fake. Someone designed this on purpose, like, oh, I'm a little creek here, or I'll just put a waterfall by the road. I remember going to the supermarket and thinking, I'm in the middle of the Lord of the Rings, like.
feels like this, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. So I get why you chose Switzerland. So many
we
things to do.
fought actually really hard to be able to do this in Switzerland. But yeah, definitely the first thing was to figure out our budget, how we could have maybe some support from the municipality, from the region, or from other association that would support our project. Because also we tried to like put forward like the kind of impact we could have in the municipality where
Yeah.
we would go. So in that sense, we would like also like try to find some support in different places.
Yeah, we maybe had an approach which was a bit different compared to other co-living owners, or at least from what we know, is that instead of like just looking at properties, first we were actually meeting with the mayors and like a responsible of the tourist office from different villages we were considering, because
Very smart.
we just wanted to make sure that our project would be welcome, and also that we could have like some potential for working together, because we really want to have like some like synergies happening with the municipality. And so we didn't just want to buy something somewhere and then realize 6 months later, like these people don't give a about us being here. So for us, it was also like this time was also dedicated to meeting people and getting feedback as well. Because when you pitch the project of like, we want to open a co-living in your village, some mayors, they go like, okay, this is going to be a bunch of weird guys. Then they dance naked around the fire. I don't know what's
Hippies,
going to
no,
happen.
sacrificing goats every other Sunday.
Exactly.
Typical stuff.
So it's also the good like occasion to like challenge a bit your the concept and present it and get used to pitch as well your ideas. And it was actually really interesting to get to confront our ideas and also to talk about the needs that specific villages have, because not every village has the same problem. So it was a very interesting time as well.
I'm also wondering, how would you explain to someone who hasn't heard the term co-living what it is?
Yeah, it took a bit of time. Like, well, actually, the first thing we did is a very detailed dossier or like about the project and what we were doing. And so before we even started talking about the topic, we would contact people and send them this to that and make sure that they read it before, because that explained in detail what's a co-living, what kind of people are going to these places. Because yeah, there is a lot of education to be made, and if we had to explain it very clearly to the people we were talking to, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also wondering, what are the hurdles or the things that you didn't expect that would be a problem when opening a co-living that actually became a problem, you know? I don't know if you had any, apart from laying floors.
This was
It's
a
a
big
nightmare, guys. Like,
thank God we had you, huh? But no,
yeah, no, well, still, I made so many mistakes. I remember. It's so difficult, you know. It seems
not
a
easy.
simple task, you know. Put some wooden things on the floor, cut it, but oh my God, yeah.
Yeah,
So
all this
difficult.
engineer helping us, and it's still not perfect, the result.
No, I think a challenge which is strictly related to the co-living market is still like it's a very new thing. So like whenever you have to deal with taxes, regulations, fire safety, anything, people don't know where to place you. We're not a hotel. We're not a private home. We're like, people just don't know what to do with us. And whenever, like it's same for the banks, and but also like for municipalities. And like very often we were confronted with a situation where we would explain the project and people will be like, oh, but you need a license for hotels. Oh, wait, actually, not really a hotel. Oh, I don't know. And so everyone is kind of tossing your file around and no one really knows what to do with you. And you kind of lose a lot of time with people trying to figure out where to put you.
Even try to find support, for example, for the project, because our project make a lot of sense, you know, like to have a positive impact in such a small village. But as we are not a hotel, as we are not like really long-term residency as well, so our project doesn't fit in any case. And in the end, we did.
Switzerland has some programs to help like
Yeah.
touristic development. And then they were like, oh, this is amazing, your project. But well, turns out actually your stays are too long. So you're not really considered as tourism. And then we're like, oh, okay. But then they also have like some funds for people who decide to settle in mountain villages. Like you help them, you know, settle because
okay.
no one wants to live there. We're like, oh, great. So we'll maybe apply for these funds. And they're the guys who are like, actually, people don't stay long enough to be able to apply for these kind of funds in your case. So we were just like, you know, in between cases and no one knew what to do with it. Everyone was happy about our project, but no one knew what to do with us.
So yeah, that was the main issue, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, because normally we see that for nomads, also they're kind of like in between, you know, the law, let's say, gray areas. And because the world is not prepared for us, you know. We are prepared for the world, but the world is not prepared for us. So it's interesting that also when opening a co-living, there's still these hurdles, no, and obstacles. Okay. And how is the remodeling going?
There were quite a lot of, but I mean, honestly, you would have asked us yesterday, I would have told you we're done. And now you see me covered in paint and you're like, this doesn't look done. But it's just like we received some fire doors that we had to have, and they were installed like a bit late, so we had to do some painting. But actually, now I think we're kind of done with like the major renovations.
Yeah, but as you said, like the building that we bought for the co-living was a former hotel, and was closed for 12 years. So, and like the former owner was living in it, but didn't open the hotel for that many years. So there was a lot of work to be done because everything was kind of working, but there was dust everywhere, lots of stuff we need to sort out, not also lots of stuff we needed to refresh. Obviously,
I mean, the last coat of paint was 1969, and that was the last
oh,
renovations ever of this house. So yeah, it was in need of some love, let's say.
yeah. So what we ended up doing is like, as we are just the two of us, we were like saying maybe we can try to invite some remote workers and nomads from our network the whole summer to help us renovate the building, and they would stay for free and they would help us a little bit in the renovations. And that's how we met, and that's what happened in the last summer. And yeah, so we were like up to 14 people during the summer for renovating the place. And I have to say that without the help of all these different remote workers that came to help us, we would have never made it to the deadline of the 1st of September
No,
that
no.
we had fixed us to open the co-living. But it was a very interesting experience of kind of co-renovation and co-creation. Was hard at times, was a bit intense, but it was a very, very cool experience, and we learned a lot.
Specifically the pull-up challenge, no?
Yeah,
We did
as
every
we
other
were
week.
not doing enough exercise, we had to
Yeah.
add some stuff.
When you're done
Oh.
plastering, you can pull up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you also guys have a lot of ideas, sports related, no? I've heard something about climbing or something like this.
I mean, in our area, we have like 4,000-meter mountains around the co-living. So basically, hiking, climbing, via ferrata, and all these nice outdoor activities are just next door. So when we have free time, we just love to explore our region and to learn more about our region. That's also part of our job, kind of to explore the region and like show it to the people that come to visit us. And I mean, we have such a beautiful nature destination that I think would be a waste not to explore it deeply and to show it to people, you know?
Yeah, and I also see that you installed a swing and
But the
so
swing
people
has been made with climbing ropes and like the
I
bolts and
see.
everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
That's the
super
influence
cool
of
idea.
Marta, the designer,
Yeah, yeah. We can put a lot of the links that we mentioned about other co-livings and your blog, no? Novomonde, maybe I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Perfect.
Little promotion, you know. We can put it in the description or wherever we can, so people can visit it if they want to. Yeah, I'm also seeing on some of your social networks that you have a lot of little things, no? That I think is so cool, no? For example, you have these goggles of virtual reality. You have a barbecue, of course, no?
Yeah.
And all of these things that are little things that provide, I think, some value, no, to the co. But what do you think makes your co-living?
Well,
I mean, I think I'm not unique. I think the uniqueness comes from the location, but maybe also from the fact that we are both like really, really fond of this lifestyle and we live on the spot. And I think we really try to work on the community side a lot. So, for example, we have family dinner every night during the week, which is maybe a bit different than other co-livings, but we just enjoy this moment of like sitting together and getting to know the people you're living with.
plus you just cook once a week.
Yeah.
That's the best.
That's the best.
Yeah. At first, when you guys told us this idea, I was like, okay, maybe it's interesting, or maybe it's too much. But in the end, I loved it. I think it was one of the coolest things that you get every night a different kind of meal from different people from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And you get to sit together and engage with other people. So yeah, I think it's a great idea, no?
Well, I mean, we stole it from other co-living. Is not our
Yeah,
idea,
yeah, no, it's-
but for sure, it's. I think it's important. Like co-living is all about the people that are in the house and how we interact with each other, how we get to know each other. And people that come to co-living spaces are not just looking for a place where they can work from or like just to go outdoor for the outdoor activities. Of course, they come for that as well. But mainly they come to meet new people, to interact with new people, to make new friends. And that's also our role to facilitate these interactions. And I think eating together in the evening is just super nice, and it's important also like to go a bit slower, to take the time to, even though I mean I don't think we're the slowest people ever, but it's important like to take some time to relax in the evening, to share sometimes with the other people in the house, because we all have our different schedules, we all have our jobs. And if we get caught into this, we don't even talk to each other, even though we live in the same house. So for me, it's important that to provide like this system where people actually take some time to talk to each other, to get to know each other, and to create good memories together.
Nice. Fabienne, apart from the family dinner, what other things do you think also the occasion, no?
Yeah,
Makes your
but
co-living unique, adds value to the people.
I think the uniqueness also comes from the type of place where it's located. It's we're in a like little remote village with 300 inhabitants, but we're still in the middle of like incredible nature. And I think both of us are very keen adventurers, and like we don't share the same like necessarily passion. Ben is more like the via ferrata and like harder stuff. I know more about this picnic spots and the river walks, but we also truly enjoy sharing like spots and stuff. And I think there is not a single week where there is not at least 2 or 3 outings organized by us, just because we also like love it. So like we're just nature enthusiasts, and I think this is maybe a bit special because we are quite a lot involved in this, but it's because it's what we like to do as well.
But also, like we have to say, like our co-living is super new, so we just opened. So there are many things we'd like to do. So as we were talking before, like the part where we try to mix co-livers with local people and to have projects together, and all the things we need to work on. And if we manage to do this, I think it's gonna make the place special as well, because co-live. I think digital nomad or remote workers in general, they want to also want to have an impact, to do some meaningful stuff when they travel. And if we can provide that to people, so like project where they can get involved to meet new people, local people, and get to know the culture and everything, um, that would be great, because it gives a lot of more purpose in what we do, and would also give this purpose to the co-liver that come to visit us. So that would be a long-term goal for us, for sure.
It also includes getting beat by local people at an
Arm
arm wrestling
wrestling.
competition in the
You,
International Swiss Day.
you know that our nightmare girl, the one who beat us all,
Yeah.
she's actually the electrician, and she came the other day in the house to fix
No.
some stuff. And
Oh
she
man,
watched
what
it
a
up with us
shock.
and being like, I kicked your ass at the arm wrestling. I was like,
I
yeah.
didn't dare ask too much stuff to her.
Yeah, that's the thing about slow traveling, no? Like when you go to a co-living, people tend to stay longer periods of time, and you will never find yourself in these kind of situations if you were not to stay like for a few weeks or months, no? So I think that's a very cool idea as well, no? Mingle with the local people and find projects together, no? I cannot wait to see what you guys are up to in the next months or years, right?
We'll see how
Also,
it goes.
yeah, now that the winter is coming, uh, I heard this area is very good for skiing. Any ideas towards this area?
I mean, skiing is one part, but I think winter is not only skiing. There is lots of other here. It's also very good for cross-country skiing, which I have never done, but I will start doing here. Snowshoeing, ski touring,
Ice climbing.
ice climbing.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's okay.
I mean, we have a guy in the house, Ostris, who he's staying for the winter as well, and he's already super excited about all the ice climbing routes. So we might get into ice climbing thanks to him, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
regards to Ostris as well.
Yeah.
Very nice meeting him when I was in your co-living.
Well, and also like one of the nice thing of, as you were saying, staying longer in a place in winter, for example, is just like you don't feel the pressure to go skiing every day, or to, even if the weather is shit, or because you just have 1 week. So here, if you stay a month or two in winter, just go skiing the good days. You work when the weather is not as good, or if you're tired to go skiing. I don't know, but basically you don't have the same pressure, and that's kind of nice to be located exactly in the ski station, like surrounded by slopes or ski touring areas. So
Yep.
you just go for it when the weather is nice. The rest of the time you work on your project or you socialize with other colivers. So yeah, definitely a good way of enjoying winter in Switzerland.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, for me, I tend to look for the hotter areas, but yeah, I like
Nobody's
skiing.
perfect, huh?
So let's see.
I tried to convince you to come back in winter, but yeah, I think you got scared by the temperatures.
Yeah, it's a bit cold in our place. Yeah, -15 sometimes, huh?
Oh, well, that's normal. What you mean Celsius, Fahrenheit?
Celsius.
Oh no. Well, I don't know actually Fahrenheit -15 is colder or no.
Well, I think it's colder. No.
Okay, and one of the key questions, the key things when opening a co-living, you mentioned it was money, right?
Yes.
So, how did you get the funds to start a co-living? Did you have a long-term plan or just savings? Or what was your idea behind getting the fund?
I think it's a bit of everything, yeah.
It's a mix.
So we had savings for sure. We also owned an apartment that we sold for the project, but we also had to find a bank that would follow us in the project.
We have a big mortgage. It's not like the place is not ours. We have a big loan on the house.
So, but altogether, that's how we made it happen. So yeah, savings for sure, because we lived like backpackers in the last 10 years. So like we had like some good savings on the sides, and selling our apartment in Switzerland was like also a big part of the budget. And then for the rest, the bank, which was difficult to convince because co-living space is a new type of project. They don't have anything to compare it to, because they don't know how it works, the business model and everything.
Many
But
banks rejected us, to be
yeah,
honest.
but
So
I think like the bank that followed us in the project, they could see the potential, also the potential of the impact we could have in this village. And it's kind of a special bank in Switzerland because it's called the Alternative Bank Switzerland,
Oh,
which is a
okay.
bit weird, like for Switzerland,
Oh,
But
nice.
and they tend to follow this kind of project, so we're super happy we've been able to find a partner like this. So it helps a lot because they don't ask many more questions now, and they just follow us in the project. Of course, we have to pay the interest, but hey.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what was the main reason why banks rejected you?
it's just now they were saying like it's uncertain times, and it's a time like, I mean, Switzerland, like Credit Suisse, went down, and like for banks it's like a risky time. And in risky times, banks, they do not take on projects which don't have track of record. And I'm like, well, great, but so how are we supposed to have track of record in Switzerland for a co-living project? Because we were showing them like also numbers from other co-livings, and they were like, well, this is not applicable because they're in Spain, they're in France, they're in Italy. And we're like, well, there is none in Switzerland, which is like owned by the owners. And like, well, yeah. And so it's just too risky for them.
Yeah, they asked many things, like they wanted us to make some assessment by third parties and stuff like that, and to
Which
spend
costs $10,000 a piece. And yeah.
we were like, yeah. I mean, we almost gave up, but in the end, there were like still two banks that would have followed us, and one of these was this bank that we already used before because we liked their ethics and everything. So we just decided to go with them, and so it turned out well, but it was not so easy.
Oh, okay. And yeah, it's also interesting that people will deem this as a risky business when it's so international that people come from every part of the world, right? And nomads, they need to live somewhere, right? So I wouldn't say it's like a risky business. Of course, you have to have the guests, no?
Yeah.
But since you guys have invested a lot of time in building a community with your blog, right? I think it's a missed opportunity by them.
Well, that's
Let's prove them.
There, of course.
That's what we tried to prove them.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like co-living is still a very niche market, and people don't know about it. So you need to educate people about this topic a lot, and people are not there yet.
And I think they need to compare with something. So usually the banks, they would compare us to opening a hotel. which in a village like where we are, which is pretty remote, there's already enough hotels.
It's a very bad idea.
The average occupancy rate of a hotel is maybe 20% over the year, like 15%, because there's empty. Because people come like in winter and in summer for hiking, but other than that, I mean, in October there is no one in the hotels. And funny enough, now our bookings for October, for example, we're full. And
Nice.
I think we're probably
Okay.
going to be the only public building, so to say, which has guests, which will be full in October, because in October all the hotels are empty. But when the banks were looking at the numbers, they were like, who on earth would like want to go to Les Odeurs like in November? Like
Yeah.
who would be crazy enough to book a month there? It's like
The concept is totally different. So there was a lot of education to be made for sure. And we kind of proved the point now, because as Fabian said, we're full in October. We're almost full for the whole winter already. So that's proves the point that there is a need for that people are ready to come in remote destination. And even better for digital nomads, I think, and remote workers to come to this kind of destination,
Mhm.
because that's what make our place special, and also like the soul and the ethics we put in the project is what convince people to come here. And tell that to a bank.
But
Yeah.
something I was thinking as well, like we struggled so much because like no one had paved the road before. And so I think for me now it's something which is very clear. If someone is listening and is planning to open a space in Switzerland, we'll be very open to sharing as well our numbers and stuff. Like I mean, we're even thinking about maybe how to publish this somewhere where it's like, it can be used by people and also by other banks and stuff, just to show track of record of like how it went and how the numbers actually really look like, because it's hard to imagine, and I think it's one of our biggest hurdles we had is to
I mean, we
convince.
still have to see how it's
Exactly,
going to be
we
in the
need a bit
years,
more
but
time, but yeah.
it's a good start.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also, for me in the future, it makes sense, this kind of like uh, lifestyle, or at least a lifestyle where you actually know your neighbors. No, I lived in the city and had so many neighbors, but we didn't do anything together, and there was so much room for doing things together. Also because cities, the way they are built, there's not really like common spaces in buildings to gather or do things. And nowadays, where like people really feel lonely and alone, I think this also makes more sense, no, to kind of fight against that. Also, it's a great opportunity to learn so many things and interact with so many different people and cultures.
I agree. Yeah, it's interesting because like we're social kind of animal. Well, we're social animals, and we end up being so lonely in big cities and stuff.
Mm.
And for example, I am not the most social person, but I still need to be social because like for me, it's very interesting, and I love to be with people as well. But I also need my me time. But I find this kind of balance in co-living spaces. So for sure. But yeah, in city it's crazy how many people are so lonely like this. And here we're in a remote village. We have these 15 remote workers in the house, and we we do all these crazy things. It's kind of cool.
And how do you see the future, Fabienne, of co-living? Do you think it will be like something more mainstream, or it will
Yeah.
still be something more alternative?
No, I think it will develop because I think more and more people will be allowed to do like remote work. I think destination co-living, like like this kind of like where people would typically go to on holiday. I think it will develop. There will be more and more. I think for now we've not reached yet the point where you would say there is a market saturation or anything. Might happen someday, but I think we're so far from it because yeah, it's just something that people enjoy more and more to go, surf somewhere and then ski somewhere and hike somewhere else and just move around. People are more flexible. And I also think it's just like you can feel the impact on people's soul, kind of like it feels very regenerating to be in a co-living because you're surrounded by so many nice people. You live life experience, like nice experiences with others. You share great moments. And I think most people, when they leave, they feel like, oh, I will be back. And
Yeah.
it's funny, our winter season Ben was mentioning before, it's like it's fully booked for January, February. I would say 50% are returnees, and we open 1 month ago, but it's from this summer and from the September who already booked the spots for January, February.
That's just a great signal, no, of how you
Yeah.
guys are doing. If people are willing to come back.
Yeah, it's great. I'm super happy. And actually, that's also a point I wanted to mention. I think, yeah, as Fabian was talking about market saturation or whatever, but it's also about like, I think I feel like all these successful co-living we know, like Nine or Anseu or these different places, it's also like the soul and the the energy they put it into it to create the community that makes it special. Because even though I don't know the place is not perfect, people don't care. What they care about is like what how they feel about when they are on the spot, the people they meet, the thing they do there. And I think that's the key. And it takes a lot of time and effort to build this kind of places. And I don't think it's like any investor can come and try to
No,
make a big chain of co-living space and to saturate the
Yeah.
market like this. So
no.
for
To
me
me,
it's more
that's
about like the people.
yeah.
Oh,
To
yeah.
me, that's clear. That I don't know if particularly the owner, but someone needs to be there and provide an environment where people feel like they can make plans together or do things together, right?
Facilitate the relationships, because also when
Yeah.
people arrive, you have like extroverts. Usually these people, they arrive in a place and after one day they are best friends with everybody. No, yeah. But then you also have more introvert people that need a little bit like of a kick, and you need people that say like, okay, let's cook together or let's like go on a hike. And I think this is like, yeah, you need facilitators that just make sure everyone feels comfortable and at home. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Also,
not
like,
just a hotel. It's much
yeah,
more
right.
than that.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's a lot of co-livings,
Yeah.
quote unquote, where it's like a residency or like something like this, where you go, okay, you share common spaces, but you
It's
don't really
trendy.
know them, no? I read this blog post. I will put it there in the description where it said
https www.novomonde.com/n/.
there's a co-living um, uh, number, no, or like let's say a grade, no,
Mhm.
based on if the owners know everyone's names, no.
Yeah, I saw that, but I was like, in what world wouldn't I know the names of people? Like, I mean, like seriously, like I can tell you all the names of the people who've stayed here since we arrived in April. Like, to
Yeah,
me,
because you guys live there, right? And
yeah,
you are
of
part of
course.
the day, and I think that's important. Also, there's like some common like common activities, so there's organized common activities in your case every day because you have like the every night the family dinner. uh, but yeah, I think that's also important. Yeah, you let people, I think, organize themselves, but I think it's good to provide like some kind of framework, no? Because as you said, of course, there's people who might be more extrovert, who might be more introvert. So to kind of like provide value for both of these types of people.
Yeah.
I think as a long-term plan for us, of course, I mean, I can see it like in many, like over the years, that can be, for example, a challenge for us as a couple or for our personal life to always be here. So, of course, I'm sure there is a way to find someone who can take this role as well, but there needs to be someone who facilitate
Yeah.
these exchanges for sure. And I hope we can find the right people and but
We're not leaving.
no, no,
We
no,
might
no.
just go traveling for a month. So it's
But
like,
Yeah, right.
but I think it's good to have these things in mind,
yeah,
because as I mean, we're like everybody. We need vacations, we need times for ourselves, and we need to find the right balance for sure. So that's something we have in mind somehow. Now we put all our energy into the co-living, but we can't do it for 10 years.
I think if someone is considering opening a co-living, I think the person has to be very like, we were conscious about it, but we still took quite a big hit, is about how much commitment this implies of like, in terms of energy, and like renovating the place was also physical energy. I've never been as tired in my life than during the summer, but also mental energy. Like in the morning, actually, we're up at 7, 8, and until 10, 11 p.m. we're always like, like active socially. It's like I was laughing the other day because we have like a little apartment and we have a TV, and we've never been big TV people, but we moved in April and our TV is still not connected to the Wi-Fi. This is to tell you like how actually demanding or like how involved the things get. But like, yeah, we just don't get really much of like, time.
Yes.
We'll get eventually, but it is demanding. It's not, we're not
Totally.
gonna lie. It's not like some,
So that's actually probably you will interview other people that have systems for this kind
yeah.
of stuff. We are just at the beginning of the adventure. So for the moment, we invest all our time and energy into it. But for sure we need to find the systems for like to find some space for ourselves.
Yeah, it also makes sense to kind of prove that the co-living works on its own.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's a healthy and smart move to at least at some point consider detaching just a little bit, no,
Little bit.
from the co-living. So yeah, but I think you guys are still like in very early phases.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the-
Okay, so yeah, it has been a tremendous pleasure to share this time with you both. Any other things you might want to promote in this last section of the podcast? We talked about Novomonde, we talked about Alpiness. I think there's some books you've written, which I think are very interesting if people want to check them out. I think
So
they have to
people
do
are
with
fond of beer and
beers
hiking.
and hiking. Can you explain more about it?
we combine artisanal breweries and hiking trails. So we create hiking itineraries that finish in craft breweries, but it's mainly in French. So like you have to be very fond of beer and hiking if you want to. Like,
And it's this order, guys: hiking and then beers, not the
Yeah,
other way
right.
around. Because if not,
no.
doesn't work
You have
that
to
way.
reserve. No.
But no, we
Okay.
don't need to promote anything else.
We're very happy that we could be the guests of this first
Yeah.
episode, and I can't wait to hear the next ones. And wishing
Okay.
you all the best for this new
Yeah.
project.
Yeah. Thank
Kudos
you.
to you guys and Map Melon community and everything. It's really cool to have you in the sphere.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, so see you guys.
See you. Bye.